Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
And a very warm welcome to you. This is Newsline. We're live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And our guest this morning within this ambience of politics and more politics, we have a long-serving member of Parliament who has dedicated basically much of his life to politics. And he's right here. And we're much grateful to his presence. Mr. D.E.W. Gunasekera, very good morning to you. Thank you.
Morning, Faraz.
Thank you for being on the program.
Yeah.
It's always wonderful to welcome you here. And we, of course, beg your pardon that we have to turf you out of bed so early.
But no, I'm early bird.
You're early bird, aren't you? You spend your time reading in the morning, don't you?
I get about 3 or 4.
Oh, and
that is my reading and desk work time.
Oh, I see.
I go to bed before 10.
Well, there you are. That's a recipe for long life, hopefully. Now then, I wanted to ask you, you spent over 40 years in politics and so on. So what are your observations? What are the issues right now that you detect that we need to be, the politicians who aspire to leadership need to be talking and looking at? What are the issues in your mind?
For us here, in my view, today, the country is facing a deep, profound crisis, which I am sorry that even the media is not giving sufficient attention to it.
Do you think so? And like what?
Sufficient, that's a word used, the advocate.
Yeah.
But except a few economics, no one is taking interest, no focusing attention on it. We are in a very deep crisis, unprecedented crisis.
Economic.
It's an economic crisis, no doubt, but now it has given way to a political crisis, social crisis, a cultural crisis, right? It's a network of crisis. So my own analysis is that this emerges from 3 main sources.
Right.
The first,
and the first is?
The international factor.
Right.
That's the global economy.
Yeah.
Globally, there are a number of global challenges that we are facing, climate change and various other issues, a number of issues are there.
Yeah.
So then the global financial crisis, it's continuing. The decline in the revenue, the IMF projected this time the world economy might go down to about 2.5. The further decline. Then the trade war between China and US. All these are affecting a small economy like ours. So this is one of the sources of crisis, our crisis, one factor.
Okay, so what about our own handling of the economy?
That's right, that is one. I almost finished it now.
Yes.
The other two,
yes.
The other two crisis rises from the present 1978 Constitution. 1978 Constitution, our Constitution, we have changes 19 times and continue to generate crisis. And today we are in between executive presidency and the parliamentary system. We have got stuck.
Because of the 19th Amendment.
19th Amendment. Because earlier the pledge was that to bring in the 20th and finish it off.
Yeah.
And to transfer it from executive presidency to parliamentary system.
Yeah.
Neither here nor there. President's powers are curtailed, the president can't function, and the prime minister has not got, the parliament has got the full powers, parliament can't operate. So we have got stuck. That crisis, right? That is one of the things. So this is coming from our constitution. Right. Thirdly, the main thing of all is the economic strategy that our government has been following since 1978. Which is called today in the common parlance and say economic parlance, that's called a neoliberalism.
Right.
Which means that really we must purely depend on the market.
Right.
The government should get away from economic.
And depend on market conditions.
And let the market operate.
Right.
And we have been opposed to this from the beginning.
Right.
Right. So, although in spite of the fact that there had been changes in the administration, say from Chandrika to Mahinda and Mahinda to Maitri and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Basically, fundamentally, we were operating within the framework of neoliberalism.
Right.
There have been adjustments here and there.
Yeah.
Right. But now it has, the world over, neoliberalism has gone into crisis. And Donald Trump is facing the same problem.
Indeed.
Right.
Indeed.
That is why he is talking of economic nationalism and unilateralism and various protectionism and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Right. Similarly, unexpectedly the EU has given way, and today Britain has broken away.
Yes.
So all these are the three main things. So we must analyze and find out to see how our small economy like Sri Lankan economy, we must think of a viable alternative.
And is this the viable alternative that I'm just trying to get a word here.
Yeah.
Candidate Sajid Premadasa spoke about that a couple of days ago.
It was shocking to me.
Yeah.
Sajid, you on TV, I think, producer. He was addressing a meeting somewhere, Poronaru.
Yeah.
And he was telling, under my administration, from November next,
Yeah.
he said, I will depart from the neoliberalist economy. And he explained it further. Government intervention is necessary. Without government intervention, you can't. How to starve these people? How to feed these starving people? We have experience on 40 years.
Yeah.
And he was telling, I am coming from the UNP deputy leader, which we leftists have been clamoring for the last 40 odd years.
Yeah.
And I think not a single.
But he's not, you can't class him as leftist, but he's making a very important analysis of the.
That's right. I mean, maybe that he would have realized, I don't know.
Yeah.
He would have realized he must be seeing for himself.
Well,
what has happened?
Well, he's been educated at the LSE.
No, neoliberalism, the main thing was the export-led economy.
Yeah.
Now, after 40 years, we are in the import-led economy, not export.
Yeah.
Imports are twice the exports.
Yeah.
After 40 years of neoliberalism. Where have we gone wrong?
Where have we gone wrong?
So, but Ranil is saying everything is perfect now. Everything we have put the back. So, coming to the deputy leader is saying something else.
Yes, it's refreshingly different.
What is it?
And
so, anyway, this is a matter.
Yeah.
I mean, less attention has been focused by the media, excepting View Media, focused the speech, and I picked it up. But this is a matter, I think the UNP must say, I will find out whether seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the response of Ranil Wickremesinghe to his deputy leader's remarks?
Indeed. And that's what they ought to be asking him. But he's actually quite camera shy, is our Prime Minister, Ranil Wickremesinghe. He doesn't like answering questions and so on. A touch of arrogance there. On Newsline, we encourage you to send us your questions by SMS 0772 300 305. Card coming up on your screen. And here goes. The first one is, who is to be blamed for the constitutional crisis, Mr. D. Gunasekera?
Jayawardena.
Really? I was expecting you to say Jayampati Wickramaratne.
That is the 19th Amendment, no?
Yes, yes. No, I'm talking about the 19th.
The 19th Amendment only accelerated the crisis, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame Jayampati alone.
No.
But I was there I was in Parliament.
Yeah.
And I also voted for the 19th Amendment.
Well, everybody excepting one voted for the 19th.
Veerasekara Samman.
Yeah.
Excepting all.
But that doesn't mean that it was right.
I can remember the meeting that we had President had to rush from the President's house to the Parliament, and Prime Minister, myself, Dinesh, we all were there. And trying to, finally, because it was being debated in the committee stage. It was a few minutes. Still we have not come to a compromise.
Right.
Consensus. So finally we had to push it through. I mean, that was but there was a pledge by the Maitripala government administration that they would bring the 20th Amendment also. That is to complete the process. The 20th Amendment is no longer, it's not there.
I mean, do you respect Mr. Gunasekera to all those very mature politicians who've been in play for a long time? Do you respect? But don't you think that the time is right now to make way for a new set, a younger set of people?
I mean, that's why the people have to decide. That's why we have now, this is the time, because we are next 6 months, there will be 3 elections.
But you can see Sajid Premadasa is making a big play to be the candidate of his party. You know, yet we are stuck with a aging leadership in terms of the UMP, but it's also reflective of across the other parties too, where the age doesn't want to be...
No, age is one factor. Age is not the same thing. You can be an old man, but the ideas may be fresh and new.
But that's the point. It's the ideas that need to be changed.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, some are fixated with their ideas and their age.
I mean, now Ranil has been there for 25 years as leader.
Yeah.
And because I think he surpassed all D.S. Senanayake, Kothalavala, Dudley Senanayake, Jayajaz and all.
Yeah.
And no leader was a leader for 25 years.
I'd like somebody to let us know how many times the United National Party constitution has been amended or tweaked since Mr. Wickremesinghe became the leader almost, 25 years ago. If somebody knows the answer, do let us know. 0772 300 305 by SMS, please. Thank you. So, Mr. Wickremesinghe,
no, the main thing is you'll have to concentrate on this crisis, find out solution to the crisis.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm making this appeal to all the political parties who are contesting.
Right.
Right. JVP, the Portua, the all should concentrate on this current crisis. It's a profound crisis, a deep crisis. Don't underestimate it. Whoever who comes to power, it will be extremely difficult to salvage the country, to lift the country out of the crisis. So, I mean, this is not being given sufficient adequate attention. And this needs some alternative economic strategy.
Like
now
what?
we suffered for 40 years. Now we are thinking, I don't say we can't turn it over 180 degrees turn.
Yeah.
But some radical adjustments have to be made. So for what? Now Faraz, how can you run without, we don't have a government revenue?
Yeah.
Government revenue is not sufficient to repay the debt. Not to speak of the payment of salaries and pensioners and other things, the development, social services, nothing. To repayment of the debt, the government revenue. So government revenue, how? There should be a new taxation policy, fiscal policy has to change, and no one gives attention to it. You can't. Dr. N.M. Perra's time, it was 24% of the GDP. Government revenue was 24% of GDP. When Mrs. Bandaranaike handed over the government to Jayajavadana, the government revenue was 24% of GDP. Today it is 12%.
But when...
so that is, I mean, no one talks about it.
That's right. But if you look at more contemporary times, when Mr. Wickremesinghe was made the Prime Minister, the growth rate was around 7 or 8%, 7 I think it was. And then since then, we've had the governors of the central bank making periodic reassessments, and 76543 now, right?
Now it's 2 plus.
It's now below that, and there are some who say that the growth is actually closer to 0. And certainly not even 2%.
Yeah.
So it's fair to say, is it
So
not?
that shows the depth of the crisis, no?
Indeed. And isn't it fair to say that, as one of our viewers is pointing out, that R.W., Ranil Wickremesinghe, has ruined not only the UNP, but the country so badly that everyone is suffering.
Well, he managed the economy for last 5 years.
And he doesn't,
no one else.
And he doesn't want to give
And
it
he
to
took
women.
over the central bank upon himself and violating the monetary law.
Yeah.
According to the monetary law, it should be handled by the finance minister.
Yeah.
Whether it's Ravi or anyone or Mangala.
Anyone,
that
the
is
name doesn't matter.
This from the beginning. And he took it over, contrary to the law, and took up on. And within few days, and the bomb what is
The bomb blast, the bond blast.
Bond blast.
It was a bond blast, not a bomb blast, a bond blast. And another one, Dr. N.M. Pereira was one of the best finance ministers this country has ever produced. Of course, not forgetting Ronnie D. Mail. Send us your questions. More, please. 0772 300 305 card coming up on your screen. Why can't we have more people, more economists entering politics like Dr. N.M. Pereira?
This electoral system does not permit.
But we have this
Even
national list.
there is
business.
provision for national list.
Yeah.
Even the national list is now reserved for the defeated candidates.
But that's disgusting.
No, I am the first victim. I was the first victim.
Right. So you were, so we need a comprehensive overall. It says here, don't blame the 19th Amendment, blame the politicians who abused the Constitution.
No doubt, I agree.
All right, there are lots and lots of other issues, of course. Economy is one. There are social and cultural issues, and of course political crisis as well.
Yeah.
But if you look at the cultural issues, Mr. Gunasekera, we've got the menace with drugs. It is all encompassing now.
Crimes
Crimes have gone up. You know,
Discipline.
Yes, that's right. So discipline's fallen down the wayside, and you know, families are being affected, and so on.
Yeah.
And there's nobody doing anything about this.
The only thing that we are really, far as our foreign exchange, we get about the 70% of the foreign exchange come from the poor women who are struggling abroad.
Yes, the expat,
they send this money.
Workers. Yeah.
And we are selling our labor.
Yeah.
Not out of capital, but out of labor only we are getting the foreign exchange, bulk of the foreign exchange, no longer tea, rubber, coconut, other exports, nothing. Simply, these women can labor.
Well, but this is the thing is, Mr. Dew, if you take the tea industry, for example, somebody had a dream, and then they decided not to use a certain type of pesticide or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden you see that countries like even Japan didn't want our tea because it was tainted with something else.
You know, the crux of the problem is that after 78 we did away with the planning system at all.
Right.
I mean, there must be some intellectuals and economists and social scientists must get together and decide upon the economy of the country.
Yeah.
It's not the job of the politicians.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That system was completely destroyed.
Yes.
No planning at all. I may agree that there need not be central planning as it was earlier.
Yeah.
But without planning, we purely depend on the market. Allow the market to decide everything on earth. All right, everything on earth. Then the government kept away from intervening. So this is the net result of all this economic strategy. And this is the simple thing that the politicians might give notice. And all the contenders for the president's election, they should focus attention on they must lay before the people what their solutions are to this economic crisis, not other things. They're talking about the passports and the citizenships and various other things. Everything on earth except in the main crisis. You take that today, what's been discussed in the country.
But Mr. Gunasekara,
They talk everything except the main crisis, which has generated all this crisis.
Mr. Gunasekara, why do you think the drug issue has been allowed to take so much of hold? We're an island nation. We can technically control the influx of drugs.
For drugs, it is a strategic point, strategic center for operation. I mean, that's right. Now only attention is being drawn now. Completely we ignored it for last so many years, and they were having their own way. This is one of the source of income for the. I mean, this is a black economy now. There's an economy, our official economy, on parallel there's a black economy. No one knows. Central banks should by now know the extent of our black economy.
They probably do
no
know.
One knows. I don't know.
They probably do know, they're just not admitting it.
That is it. You must.
It's a bit like the forensic audits.
That is not transparent. They are talking of right to information and everything. Please, central bank governor should tell the people what is the extent of the black economy in our country.
But also would be good if the governor of the central bank actually, and it is now August, today is the 20th of August, and he has still not made available the forensic reports into Sri Lanka's largest ever.
Now Faraz say, for example, 20% of our people, the society, so our people, 20% account for 54% of the national income. Mark this words. This by not government statistics.
Yeah.
And the central bank confirms it.
Yeah.
20%, the lowest slab of the population, account for 4% of the national income. See the wide disparity of top 20% and lowest 20%, 54% and 4%. This is the gap, 54 and 4. This is reflected in the society. This is why there is discipline, that is why there is crime. That is why demonstration all over. You are depicting all demonstration every day. This is portraying all these demonstrations. This is the reason.
I'm going to ask you a very upfront and open question. We've got it, somebody sent this to us, I don't know who, but anyway. Let me read it out to you. It's a bit long. More than the economic strategy, the blame lies with educated people like you, D.E.W, Gunasekara, enabling all their leaders to do whatever they like to help their coffers and not the betterment of the country. Where were you, Mr. D.E.W Gunasekara, when the Rajapaksas were taking the country down the tubes with their grandiose ideas?
No, I don't agree with that. And under them, there's a growth rate of 6 to 7%.
Right.
While the war was going on.
Right.
Right. But being in the part of the government, we will continue. What I told just now, I told the cabinet, I told MR, and told everything. On the government revenue, I was the only minister. My evidence is there. You read all the budget debate speeches from 2005 up to 2015.
Yeah.
I concentrated. I said we are heading for a crisis unless you don't revise your fiscal policy, taxation policy, bringing government revenue up to at least 20%. And this has been confirmed by IMF, World Bank, all these agencies. But our government, all the governments the last so many years, they never pay attention to the government revenue.
But this 4% are actually doing a great service, a yeoman service, this 4% who control the others, because they're actually creating employment.
Who?
Let's call them the capitalists, if you like, the industrialists. They do create employment.
What is our capital? We have a finance capitalist class in our country. We don't have landed proprietors today. We didn't have industrial capitalist class today. We have only.
But to achieve,
how many? We got 25 people who the really finance capital top tycoons. And they are the people who are formulating policies. They are the people who are influencing the government. They are the people who are financing the elections. They are the people who are running the government,
but,
not the politicians.
Mr. Dew, for industrialists and for the country
no industrialists.
But for the country to grow, you need
capital.
Well, you need basically more than anything. First of all, to start off with, you need stability of policy.
Stability. You must have an economic strategy in the first instance.
Yes, but to have that, it must establish stability
so
first.
Stability is the constitution should provide. That is why they brought in executive presidency.
Was
there stability during the last 40 years under the executive presidency?
Well, the point what I'm trying to make is that if we don't have stability, then nothing really is going to work.
That's right. So that I don't deny that. That's right, stability. There won't be stability so long as the economic crisis is brewing.
Indeed.
There's a tendency to destabilize. There are forces which are destabilizing. Useless coming out with the stability mantra. It won't work. But there are other forces which are working, generating the...
several messages from people who say that Ranil Wickremesinghe's lot, it says here, and there's another one, it says here, this sounds better. R.W. sought to ruin the country as soon as he came in. All he did was provided a luxurious lifestyle for his cronies and parliamentarians and bribed people to do anything with money with no thought for the masses and the poor. I think that's very reflective.
All what I said is reflected there.
All right, but at least the time surely has come now for the older leaders like R.W. and even Mahinda Rajapaksa to step aside and pave the way for younger leaders with ideas that are more reflective of the current population and the current aspirations of the population.
The present political leadership are unable to control their own members now. They see what has happened to the parliament today. How many attend in parliament? There are members in the last 5 years, not one day he has not spoken a word. There had been deputy ministers who had never uttered a word, but they functioning as deputy ministers. Who has contributed? Had there been a debate last 1 year, say, on the economic crisis?
What is wrong if
What is wrong?
No, I want to ask
you the political leadership.
What is wrong if Ranil makes way for Sajid Premadasa? What is wrong?
I put the question, has Ranil for the last 25 years has spoken as a single budget debate? You show me a speech. No. He has never spoken in the last 25 years on the budget, even as Prime Minister or the man in charge of economy. As leader of the opposition, he has never spoken on the budget. Is he the man who lead the debate? I mean, you say Jaya Javadan, Dudley Senanayaka, Bandar Nayakas, N.M. Peras, I mean, they led the debates.
Well, in our group.
That is the way, through the means through which the people are educated. So the parliament never educate the people.
In this group, within this group, the Captain Maharaj group, Maharaj organization, we are preparing for change. We have already done that. And we're making the way for the youth to take the group forward.
Yeah, it's the duty of the media. Where parliament has failed, where politicians fail, the media should. Media is expected. If all other medias get together, I mean, play the same role, say at least 20%.
United we stand, divided we fall. All right then.
At least educate the people. You say you take the 24-hour program. How many minutes are spent on the educating of the people?
We need to make loads of money before we can do a 24/7 network, because it costs so much of money.
Yeah, that's right.
And there you go. What we're saying is that forget our media, but as a whole group, we are poised for change, for growth, for the future, because that's how it works.
You make... I admire and I appreciate that you bring the issues to the fore.
Well, and the whole group, so that the whole group will grow, so that you pair off the top end where there's the older ones, you make way for the younger ones.
That's right.
And that's what we'd like to see happen across the world of politics in this country. Not for the old ones to keep hanging on, clinging on to power for dear life.
Side for us now, next 6 months, very decisive. There will be 3 elections, one after the other.
Yeah.
Right? I am not attaching much importance to the presidential election. Really, under the present, after the 19th Amendment, the most important election will be the general election, where the power goes, not the president, but the prime minister and the parliament.
Mr. Gunasekera, I want to thank you for being on the program, but not before I say this, that the people have been waiting for provincial elections, and it's clear that the people in government do not want to have those elections because they are frightened of the results. There can be no other explanation. D.E.W. Gunasekera, thank you very much for being on Newsline this morning. We appreciate your time, and that's the way it is. Thank you very much for the slight overrun. Take care, have a great day ahead, and, of course, God bless.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
TV1 රැස්වීදෙන ජීවිතේ
ජීවිතේ